in Greenwood.
I started a beauty shop dressing hair in 1915 in the home. We had money, but we were not able to go and purchase things, so it helped us to go into business for our own selves. And then that's when the black people began to build.
In front of Ramsey's drugstore was a cab stand called the Your Cab Company. And there were several cabs, and they were all owned by blacks. And some of the owners were bought 4 or 5 new cabs every year.
We had our own bus transportation. The city bus lines today were started by a black man. And he sold the thing to the city with the understanding that they would hire black drivers.
Before there were city buses, there were jitneys that black people owned, and the ambulance really intoned as it went through Great Wood Street.
We had 2 or 3 ambulances, yes, ambulances which were operated by funeral homes. And there were no fees attached to the ambulance service. Of course, I suppose the undertakers who operated the ambulances felt that the patient might die and they'd get remunerated through that way.
You'd go into a barbecue place, you'd hear the blues, you'd hear the jazz, and you'd hear live performers, Diana Washington and Roy Milton, and the Globetrotters would come strolling down the street.
Earl Bostic was from here. We had Clarence Love was from here. A lot of musicians that went all over the United States. Clarence Love had an all-girls band that traveled all across the country.
We had some of the best barbecue that you could ever want to taste. I can remember though one place though that I guess to get that white business, he had a side for black folks and side for white folks. And I can remember thinking, I didn't think his barbecue was that great because I hated the idea that he had to do this. You know, he had a market that he didn't have to do that.
By 1921, Tulsa's black population had grown to almost 11,000, and the Greenwood community was booming. 15 grocery stores, 2 black movie houses, 2 black newspapers, 4 drugstores, 2 black public schools, a black public library, 4 barbecue and chili parlors, and about 13 churches.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma, we did have a little separate enclave where blacks had some measure of financial, social, political independence, maybe even some clout.
You had a whole group of black entrepreneurs who came together and formed a kind of union to help develop black businesses.
The black business grew so in Tulsa until in 1936 it was announced that we had the largest black business in the whole United States.
But when we went on the white side of towns now, you'd have white guys picking at you all the time, and you might get involved in a fight. And the Ku Klux Klans were pretty rampant.
It was a dangerous time to be black in America. Between 1917 and 1921, racial violence was rampant. In cities across the country, blacks were being beaten, burned, and lynched in alarming numbers. In Tulsa, The Ku Klux Klan included political leaders and members of the police. Even local newspapers supported mob violence.
There was always a hostile relationship between the black and white community, and part of it was because the Ku Klux Klan was located in an area just west of the black community itself on Main and Eastern. This was about 4 blocks west of where the primary black community was located. And we had to pass by this to go to places of employment and to go to and from school if we lived in service areas of the quarters. And it was just a hostile situation. There was always potential for violence there. Black people were not about to put up with the attitude that the white community was putting before us. The whites felt that they could instill fear in the black community, and blacks wasn't going for it, and it was a confrontational type of attitude that existed.
But no one, black or white, was prepared for what happened on the night of May 31st, 1921.
There was a merchandise store that had one of these old-fashioned elevators that you ran by hand, and the white girl was the operator, and this young man got on the elevator.
When he went to get on it, he stumbled. And in the effort to keep from falling, he grabbed whatever he could, and of course the operator was in the way. And she assumed that he was trying to attack her, and she reported it, and he was arrested.
My husband asked to make a speech. He's the one that predicted that riot. Don't let nobody fool you. I don't know who else says they predicted it, but T.R. Davis, the father of my children, he stood up and told the people. He said, there's going to be a destruction in Tulsa.
And that afternoon, the Tribune came out and said what had happened, and that they had arrested Dick Rowland, and it looks like there's going to be a lynching tonight. And of course, when the Negroes in the community saw this, they said, oh, no, we're not going to have that.
After we went home from church, here come one by the house. Men, get your guns. Get your guns. Look like I can hear them lousy people, them loud-mouthed people right now.
There they were, hundreds of Negroes standing around talking, using profanity and what have you, and shooting the gun every now and then. And then they felt, well, we better get on down to the courthouse.
Welcome back. You're listening to The State of the City. That was part 1 of Greenwood. Again, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the Greenwood neighborhood and Greenwood community. Thought we would share some of that with you today on The State of the City. Again, but there's several books and many books, DVDs. I would encourage you to stop by Everyone's Place bookstore, Expressions bookstore downtown, right there on Packer and Saratoga. Pick up your DVDs as well as books to educate yourselves and, of course, your family on Tulsa, Oklahoma, the true history of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and again, Black Wall Street, to show our children the potential of what we can do, should do, and would do if we are united. But we have to be the ones to tell our story. As the old saying goes, the lion cannot allow the hunter to tell their story, because in that, the hunter will always be the victorious one and always be the victor in terms of the way he tells the story regarding the lion, in terms of being the predator, when the lion was not the predator, but the lion was a victim of the predator. So we'll open up the line shortly. Take your thoughts, questions, comments on Black Wall Street as we are revisiting that story today. But I would encourage many of you to take the time to learn more about Black Wall Street and to teach your children about Black Wall Street and what happened on that fateful 48 hours back on May the 31st Again, 1921 going into June the 1st, 1921, and how that part of Tulsa, Oklahoma was destroyed, has been destroyed, and never to be rebuilt again, only to be offered, of course, during the Civil Rights Movement, integration. I believe there was a cultural center that was built as a commemoration, but those brothers and sisters, men, women, and children, never ever received any form of reparations, and if given any form of reparation, know that it was pittance compared to what was lost in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So let me go to this quick musical break. Then we're going to come back in, close out in the first hour, open up the lines, take your thoughts, questions, comments for those of you that would like to, I think, just commemorate and educate on Tulsa, Oklahoma. Of course, today wouldn't give me the opportunity to give you all of that documentary, but you can watch it online. But as I said before, that DVD is available, and that DVD is at Everyone's Place Bookstore, I'm sure, at 1356 West North Avenue, or you can stop by. Once again, Expressions Bookstore right there. I believe it's at 222 North Packer Street. So let me go to this quick musical break. Again, the Gap Band, which dedicated this song to those of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, and again, Greenwood, I believe it's Argyle and Pine neighborhood. That's where you get the word gap. So let me go to this musical break, then we'll come back in, open up the lines, take your thoughts, questions, comments as we're stopping to commemorate, again, Black Wall Street, 1921. And again, as I said before, one of the greatest acts of terrorism in terms of the death of men, women, and children. Some say hundreds, some say thousands, and many of the men were castrated. Body parts were cut off, testicles were cut off, fingers were cut off, toes were cut off, ears were cut off to be collected as souvenirs. Children were killed as well. Women were killed as well, while others stood on the outskirts of the town watching our people, of course, fighting for their lives, fighting for their property, and only to have their property seized, only to have, of course, even their children seized and their women seized. But again, this is a history that America doesn't want to talk about. But if it happened to members of the Jewish community, know that they would have a moment of silence and they would commemorate what happened to their people and any other civilized people in this country and on this planet. So let me go to this break, then we'll come back in and open up the lines. Take your thoughts, questions, comments on Black Wall Street, 1921. And Black Wall Street today. As I said, you've seen the damage that White Wall Street has caused. You've seen the damage on Y'all Street and other streets that White Wall Street has caused right now, from the $787 billion redistribution or bailout or welfare payment that they received back on September the 15th, 2008. And when the smoke cleared, it was $24 trillion, the largest redistribution of wealth in this country by the presidents Bush and Obama to them corporate thugs, man. So let me go to this break as we're commemorating Black Wall Street 2013, Black Wall Street 1921. Listen to this message. We'll be right back with more of the State of the City.
To the courthouse, everybody was just standing around. Nobody said anything to one another. Finally, a little white man came up to Barry and said, "Nigga, what you doing with that pistol?" He said, "I'm gonna use it if I need to." "No, no, you give it to me." And he tried to take it, and that scuffling set the ride off. So the Negro decided they were going to make a stand at Cincinnati and Frisco Railroad track. But by being outnumbered, they had to leave. And of course, as they left, the white moved in. And as they moved in, they looted. And to hide their behavior pattern, they set fire to the building.
When T.R. woke me up, he said, "Rose, So we got to get up and leave here, so they done started. And I didn't want to go. I balked on him. He had the kind of